welcome to episode 47 of the Z's and Roger Crochet Vlogcast. Hello, how are you? You alright? I'm okay. I do apologise, but they are banging next door. I don't know what they're up to, and if you can hear it then I'm very sorry, but I have no other window because I've run out of time to record. So it's now or never, so we'll have to put up with their DIY next door, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm Rosina, forgot to say hello. Yes, it's been 3 weeks, I think, since the last episode, which feels like an eternity. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have 3 weeks worth of stuff to show. I've done stuff, don't get me wrong, but I'll show you in a minute. That's what we're here for. First things first, I've been told by my husband and my kids to say don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below, because apparently that's what all people on YouTube are supposed to say. So and I never say it, hardly ever, and I always forget. So don't forget to leave a thumbs up and like and subscribe and all that jazz. Thank you very much. Right, let's get on with it. Let's get on. I'll start with news just to sort of tick some things off the list, and then I can sort of relax a bit and just chat about what I've been making. So the very first bit of news is that after many weeks, months, Waking Winter is now available. I have released it into the wild, and I've talked about this quite a lot, so you're probably fed up with me now and rolling your eyes. This is the third shawl in my seasons collection, with Emergence of Spring being the first one, which you could probably make now because it's very spring-like out there. And then the second one was Harvest Moon, which I released last autumn, which is a crescent shawl. They're all so far different shapes. I've got a rectangle, a crescent, and now a triangle shawl. This one's got lots of eyelets using filet crochet. I have used double knit yarn. It's Blacker Tamar Luster Blend, which I bought at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year. And finally worked it up, and it is done. It's on Ravelry, Love Crochet, somewhere else. This morning I kind of applied for it to be on the Making Things app, so hopefully they'll like it enough to put it on there too. So if you're a subscriber to Making Things, then it'll be up there shortly. It's a very straightforward shawl, but it has some interesting features, if you don't mind me saying. I've used some front post stitches to create ridges on the edging, and then to mirror it I've done a crab stitch as well in a different part of it, and then it's got a sort of a pretty lacy edging. So whilst it's dead simple, it's also got some interesting pretty things going on. It has 20% off until the end of February, and we are now the 15th, and February's got what, 28 days this year, so you've got a few days in which to get your discount. I also added inner flap to Ravelry, nowhere else as yet. This was in Inside Crochet a while back, and the rights have reverted back to me, so I've popped this on Ravelry for sale as well. I added a £4 price tag on Waking Winter. Inner flap is £3, but what with taxes it goes to £3.60. But because I've added two patterns to Ravelry, and I'm about to add oh, I know you're down here somewhere. I'm about to add One Way or Another as well. This one's going to go on Ravelry any day. I've got the tech edited version that was used in the magazine, issue 102 of Inside Crochet magazine, this one. So I just need to go through that and make sure it's okay. It feels like such a long time since I was talking about this here last time. Cripes, brioche edge with a stripy triangle main bit. The inspiration was not Pob, but once I'd made it, all I could see was that puppet going on the screen everywhere. You need to Google Pob if you don't know what I'm talking about. It kind of looks like a licorice all sort as well, but it's not. But that was my first foray into interlocking crochet for the brioche style effect. But yeah, if I've got time. No, I won't have time today because I'll be editing this and uploading this and stuff like that. But at the beginning of next week, this will be up on Ravelry. It's almost there. But because I've been putting so many patterns on Ravelry, 3, I couldn't be bothered to do individual promotions for them. So I've just done a blanket across the board, 20% off all the patterns in Ravelry, just because it was quicker and easier. So that's right up until the end of Feb. So if you want to grab a discount, do it now. Yeah. But I've seen loads of people make inner flap already. Isn't it lovely? It looks so nice and drapey. I used Eden Cottage yarns for this, with I think it's called Milburn, a 4-ply. It's lovely. The only problem is with it is that Peach, she says, wearing a peach t-shirt. It's really not my colour, and I don't know. It's got silk in it and like posh wool, and I just don't know who to give it to. I don't think any of my mates are peach people. So at the moment it's just been sort of living in a cupboard since I've had it back, and I don't know what to do with it, whether I should sell it or just wait until the right person comes along. Right, so that's the first bit of news. Second bit of news is the Granny Cal is happening in a week's time. It's kicking off next week. I can't remember last time if I said I was going to write a blog post or if I'd just written it, because my memory is not that great today. But I will link to the blog post in the show notes. Had I already written it 2 weeks ago? I honestly don't remember, but it's there, and if you want to join in the Cal, then you are most welcome. Please join in, no matter how big your granny project, no matter if you've started it already, no matter if you're going to enter it into a different crochet along, whatever, I don't care. I just want to get people grannying again, which I know granny's very popular, and so this is a way of celebrating this ubiquitous of crochet stitches. Beautiful, beautiful, and in doing so I am making a crochet shawl. Now it's not, I'm going to have to frog it because it's a weird shape. It's going to be asymmetric, and this bit is to go round the back, and then I was going to have a triangle at the front, but I've started my triangle and I've decided that it's too steep and deep because I was increasing on each row at this side. But I'm going to have to not increase every row. I'm going to have to stagger the increases to make sure that or would that make it even steeper? It wouldn't, no, don't be silly. But this, I hope this will be a tutorial and free pattern at some point, if I can, during the Cal, before it ends anyway. And if not, I'm not going to sort of panic if I don't get it done in time. But it's going to be an asymmetric shawl. I've lost the hook. Literally I put it down and now it's disappeared. Rolled away somewhere. So not my usual colours, I grant you, but they were on sale in the wool section of the garden centre, and I sort of was struck by inspiration to make this shawl. And I love the neppiness of of the chunky yarn. Initially I bought a load and I was going to do Hinterland, but then I realised that Hinterland is, I think, an Aran weight yarn, and this is chunky, so it wouldn't have worked. Pretty sure Hinterland's Aran. Can't remember now. So I'm working on that, and I will report back next time as to how I'm doing, because I started this yeah, probably about 3 weeks ago, and I haven't touched it since, apart from to rip back some rows. But I think it will be nice when it's done, and I hope that it will be a pattern I can share. Don't forget to tell me what granny plans you've got, is what I'll add on to that at the end. I've got some other news, some magazine stuff. Should we go there? Molly Makes issue 102 is still in the shops, with a beautiful Frida Kahlo front cover. This is the Mindful issue, and it comes with a free supplement. There are sewing patterns in here, including a project bag, which I thought was quite interesting. At some point maybe I'll get around to making it. I don't know. And next month there's a little advert I've just seen, it says 21st of February, so that's a week from yesterday, I think the next one's out, so we've got a week of this issue to go. But there's a crochet blanket. I'm just showing you because I'm in this one. But before I go off on my own pattern, I just thought you might like to see stuff, yarny related things that are also in the issue. Those are some little welly warmers. There's a little bear you can sew. He's felt. And there was another crochet. I wanted to show you a different crochet pattern. I flicked past it and now it's gone. But Molly Makes is a UK craft magazine, and it has all the crafts in it. And you may know the commissioning, that sounds wrong, commissioning editor is Lindsay from Lottie and Albert. So who better to champion crochet in a craft magazine than a crocheter? I love that, it's gorgeous. Who's that by? Dawn Curran. I don't know who Dawn Curran is. Don't you always sort of call people by their Insta names? The Almond Snug. Yes, I follow Dawn on Instagram. Lots of sewing, quilting, blah blah, etc, etc. Lovely things, lovely. But it comes with this supplement, and I have this pattern down here, which is a corner to corner cowl. There's also a cake that I would eat all of. I'm really hungry the last couple of days. I think I might be coming down with a cold because I'm really hungry all the time. Anyway, it is a photo tutorial, so there are 12 photographs covering step-by-step C2C crochet. And that's the cowl. I don't know, with Molly Makes, it's the only magazine I've not had my samples returned to me, so I don't know if they keep them or they just keep them for a really long time before they send them back. So I don't have Hinterland, and if they send this back to me, it won't be for months yet, so I won't get to see that. But I don't know, because sometimes they keep them for whatever reason, but not very often. I've never had anything not returned. Everything's always been returned back to me. Anyway, that's made with a King Cole Cotswold Chunky, which is a nice sort of colour changing yarn. Brilliant for the C2C because it just creates a really nice colour change, and the texture really brings it out. I love doing that. And then yesterday I got Crochet Now in the post, which I haven't had opportunity to read yet. That's a nice bag. Oh, that's because it's Moller Mills. There's always a really good mixture of crochet patterns in this magazine. There's always, well actually in most magazines there's a really nice sort of broad spectrum of crochet. Usually Tunisian, amigurumi, garments, blankets and homewares and stuff. And this one's no different. So you've got your Ami stuff. There's a couple of different amigurumi ones in here and a couple of different blankets too. But I designed a hat. And there it is. It's another corner to corner project. I don't think I've got any more C2C stuff coming out. Not yet. It is called the Licorice All Sorts hat because it's supposed to be like licorice all sorts. Dead easy to do. Some colour ends, so lots of things to sew in after you've finished, but I think it's worth it. It was a nice quick make actually, and I did enjoy doing it. I can't remember when I made it now. Good couple of months ago. But oh, look at these Shawn the Sheep mittens. There's lots of things in there anyway. So that's the latest issue of Crochet Now, which is issue 38. Okie dokie. Lastly, before I kick off with my whips and my FOs, I think I wanted to say, Jenny Miller, please can you email me? Because I think we got lost somewhere mid-communications. zinesandroger@gmail.com. That's my email address. Thank you very much. And then a request, a plea. If you have ever made one of my patterns and it's on Ravelry, could you do me a massive favour and add it to the projects page, linking it to my design? It would mean the world to me and make me very happy, because we all know that if you're trawling through Ravelry, did I say Instagram? I meant Ravelry. I didn't say Instagram, I've got Instagram on the brain. If you're trawling through Ravelry, you might go, oh, that's a nice pattern. Do you or do you not click on other people's projects and check it out and see what it looks like when somebody else has made it? Because I do. And if there are no projects, it is a little bit off-putting. So if I had projects in those, hopefully it'll encourage other people to make my designs and push them out there. That would be brilliant if that happened. So that's my little plea. And so let's move on and do whips and foes. My first finished object was a work in progress last time, and it is this ginormous bag, which is actually pretty darn good. I'm really pleased with this. It's perfect for a beach bag, which is probably what I'll use it for, or day trips out. I can see myself going down to the river with towels and a picnic, and this will be my bag in which to carry those to the river. Because quite often when it's nice weather we go down to the river rather than to the beach because it's in walking distance, whereas in the beach, if you want to go to the beach you have to get in the car and stuff, and I'm fundamentally very lazy, so if I can just like literally roll down the hill and go to the river, I'll do that instead. This is a pattern and the yarn is, well, it's a kit. It's from Wool and the Gang, and it's a new wave yarn which I talked about last time in quite a bit of detail. It's recycled plastic and cotton, and it's enormous. I'm so glad I did go wrong with my stitch, because if you'll recall that I was supposed to do US trebles, but I did UK trebles by mistake, which are obviously a bit shorter. Can you imagine how enormous it would be? It would be, and I like the dimensions of this as well. I like it like that. Dead easy to do and dead quick. I thoroughly enjoyed making this. In it is the yarn for the granny, for this granny one, plus some more. I've got so much. I probably could try and do a chunky hinterland, because I've got all of that. I went a bit crazy. It's so funny because I was going to come on here today and say, and I've been very good because I haven't bought any yarn for weeks, and then I forgot that I'd bought all this. Whoopsie. But what it is, I'll tell you because you might have been curious before, it's Alpaca Tweed Chunky by Stylecraft. It's mostly acrylic, but it's got 20% alpaca in it and 3% viscose. I did buy, I wish they had a mustard. There was no mustard, and I don't know if they do mustard in this range or what, but I bought these 4 colours, but this browny grey colour isn't going to feature in my granny pattern, just the other 3. But actually now I look at it like this, I wish I'd put it in there. I probably still could, to be honest. But there was I don't know, 25% off, something like that, and so I had to buy it. Whatever I've got left, I think I will try and do a chunky hinterland. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. That's my mummy. We're gonna go and see her tomorrow. It's her birthday on Sunday, so we're gonna. I've told my brother that he needs to cook roast dinner on Sunday, and we'll go around. No, I'm having, oh God, what am I gonna buy my mum for a birthday? I haven't thought about that. Dear, sort something out, I expect. Completely forgot. I'm so useless. Anyway, I've forgotten where I was when we were interrupted by that phone call. I think I was probably I was sort of on my way out of talking about the other stuff. So I'll move on to the next finished object because I don't remember. Well, it's quite a big one actually, the next one. Are you ready for this? It's a jumper, or a sweater if you're in the US. Or is it just, I think it's just in the UK that it's a jumper, and everywhere else it's a sweater. I made Yarn Family's zigzag jumper. I've got a couple of pictures of this on Instagram if you wanted to see it in more detail. So it's all worked in the round. It's top down. So you start here and work your way down, splitting off for the sleeves. It's worked in a chunky yarn, so it's dead quick. It is, I bought the recommended yarn just to make life easier. Women's Institute Soft and Chunky. There are very few colours in the collection, so you're kind of limited for choice about what to go for. But Kimberly uses a similar palette, so I just went with it. I didn't do, you're supposed to have zigzags down the bottom. I didn't do those, I just kept my zigzags across the top, and that is it. My sleeves are slightly different because I was running out of grey yarn. I think I bought 6 balls of grey and definitely sort of opened up that 6th ball. But I also wanted to keep some aside to make a hat, so I was conscious about the amount of yarn I was using, and so my sleeves are actually 2 rows shorter than they should be for the cuffs. So I've only got 1 round of front post back post stitches, but it's fine. I'm not looking at it going, oh no, it looks so wrong with just 1 row, 1 round. It doesn't look wrong at all, it's fine. And I did that for the bottom. I think the bottom is, I could change it. I followed the pattern, again missing out the last 2 rounds of FPBP. But actually I think the decreases have made it just ever so slightly tight. I was going to say too tight, but it's not too tight because I can get it on. But there's not much stretch, not much give in the waistband. And I think if I were to make it again, I'd be very careful. I would change the waistband, because for me, I mean, looks wise it makes very little difference, because you don't really, nobody's there looking at your waistband. But just for ease of getting on and off, I would adjust that. Don't know how I would, but I'd think of a different way of doing it. I made the size 12 to 14. I'm not a 12 to 14. In the minute I'm about a 10. Sometimes a 12 if the boobs don't fit. What did I think I used the recommended hook size, which is interesting because usually my tension is very loose. So if I'd gone down a hook size like I might ordinarily have done, it would have been really small again. So, I didn't do a gauge swatch or anything, because who does gauge swatches? I haven't actually measured to see if I met gauge or not, or how far away I was. Not got a clue. So just be careful when you're if you want to make one of these, just be careful about how big you're making it. The other thing, I left off the neckline completely. When you finished your jumper, you're supposed to go back and reattach the yarn and do FPBP around the neck. I don't need it. I think probably my tension is so tight that this is sort of higher up than it might otherwise be. So it doesn't need any extra added to it. I love the finished result of this. I think it's lovely. It's a great design. But I would suggest that you need to be a confident crocheter to follow the pattern. And that's mostly because the pattern doesn't follow conventional style formatting. It's sort of a bit more, not conversational, but it's kind of like more casually written than sort of something that's you'll see in magazines and stuff like that follow a set style. So be prepared for that. But if you're a confident crocheter, then that's probably not going to be an issue. But if you want to follow things literally and by the letter, then it might not be your cup of tea. But you know, if you can kind of do things slightly intuitively and follow your nose a lot of the time, I think you'll be fine. And I do like a top down now. It's my first top down jumper, and I like it. I like the fact that you can try on as you go and gauge whether or not you think it's going to fit as you go. So you don't have to wait until you're finished to find out if it's going to fit or not. You can keep sort of trying on every now and again and in it, you know, and then go, oh, yep, I'm done, it fits. I added on way more rounds as well. I think like you're supposed to do a set number of rounds for the sleeves, and I did about six extra rounds going around and around. It's quite nice just going round and around. You don't have to think about anything. But I was worried that they would be too long or too short, but actually they're just right. So just sort of try and use your instincts with this one, I reckon. Keep trying on as you go. I also got this one as well, which is the slope style hat pattern, which did I show you last time? I hadn't made it last time, had I? With my leftovers from this, I made the hats because just by chance it recommends exactly the same yarn, which is awesome. And so I've made myself a hat, which is this one. Including a pom-pom. I made this, do you know, I'd forgotten about this. As soon as I put it on, I made the connection again. I made this whilst watching the Danny Dyer programme on BBC the other day. He did, because he's got royal connections, he looked into his family history. It wasn't Who Do, it was like, because he did Who Do You Think You Are, and found his family history to be so interesting. They did a spin-off show. I think, I'm assuming it's only 2 episodes. I've only seen 2 episodes. But it's fascinating, and he's such a funny character. But yeah, this now, I have to call it my Danny Dyer hat. Oh, I could crochet myself a ruff. Anyway, it's the 3-colour version. The pattern by Claudine of Iron Lamb gives you options for 3. It gives you men and women's size hats, and then also you can do it with 1 colour, 2 colours, or 3 colours. So you've got all those options in here, and I know it's just a hat, and I know it's dead straightforward stitches, but I really am sort of quite glad that I didn't try and work it out myself, and I just bought the pattern. It's £3, it's nothing. I'm supporting a fellow designer rather than trying to sort of cheat my way through it. Yes, hats are dead simple to make, but I didn't want to think, I didn't want to use my brain. I wanted to be told how many stitches and where to put my stitches, blah blah blah. And I've made this pattern 3 times in the last 3 weeks, and there's loads of it. There's loads of it. You've got step-by-step pictures and all sorts. It's great. And everything worked out brilliantly. I used my Handmade hook, which has now had a thumb rest gouged out of it to make it even more ergonomic and fabulous. What do you think about Handmade hooks? I asked that last time, for sure I remember, but now I'm getting more and more kind of obsessed and enthusiastic about them. I think we're definitely going to try and sell some of these, but like, it's been weeks and weeks of going, can you change this little bit and tweak it here, and let's try this. And we are getting to the stage now where that works beautifully. I've used it for my hats, I've used it for this jumper, I've used it for my granny cowl. Everything now I'm gonna have to use chunky yarn just so I can use my fancy hook. Here's the, I made this one as well. Oh, it's a bit bigger. I made the man size, so it's a bit taller, but then it is for a man's bonce, so it's got a wonky bum bum. I think probably this was a bit too, well, certainly too big on my head, but tall. It's the same amount of rounds as this one, but I tightened my gauge for this one for some reason. Can't remember why I did that now. Did I use a different handmade hook? I've got 2, you see. There's pretty much the same size, it's like half a thing in it. So technically it was a lie when I said I'd use exactly the same hook for all these projects. I just used a different one. I don't know, but is that correct? What a little liar. Excuse me. No, because maybe I gave it back so you could work from it. Can't remember now. Do I have 2 of those, or is it all the same? Why is my tension different on this one? You can feel it. Maybe, do you think maybe I'm just, it's not a lie, maybe I'm just being stupid. Where I've worn this, so maybe it's stretched out. I don't know. Ignore me. Right, where are we? So that's the slopestyle hat. Finished objects. I'm getting hot now, I might have to take my jumper off. I've got one finished project. I'll show you. I wasn't going to show these today because I was going to save it for when the pattern was nearly ready, but what happened, I might end up sending them off, so I'll show them to you now, just in case I do end up sending them away. But my shawl with John Arbon yarn is finished. So this is called the Greenbow shawl, because it's grey and it's a rainbow. This is a Greenbow. And I did not name it, because on Insta I said whoever gave it the best name could get a copy of the pattern, and it's My Chaotic Bliss, who I haven't told yet, so I better go and tell her this afternoon that I've named my shawl with her name, with her suggestion. I'll do that in a bit. So this is John Arbon DK Knit by Numbers, and I did sort of fart about, I farted about a little bit with the edging before deciding that actually simple was better. This is a contemporary design, and finishing it off with just a plain row of stitches is a very contemporary look, and I decided that it looked best of all in this way. But as you know, it's not necessarily indecisiveness, it's just I want everything all the time. I can't just go, well, here's one design. I want to give people options, because just a couple of rows can make such a huge difference and create a whole new look. And isn't it lovely to give people the choice rather than go, do you know what, and when I write this pattern up you can only have one edge because that's the edge I've decided on. It's just like, well, hang on a minute, both look nice, you can have both. I don't know. What's that word? Is there a word for that other than them like just wanting everything? So that's the Knit by Numbers one, which uses the mini, because Knit by Numbers you can buy minis as well, so you don't need to buy whole skein to get those stripes of colour in. And then this is the one that's not minis. I used a main colour and a contrasting colour, and then I can't believe how different it looks. It's the same design, only with this one I added on a lacy border. That's the only difference. So it creates a completely different shawl. And rather than frou-frouing about for the best part of 2 months, the pattern is already written. I've written it up and I've sent it off for tech editing. I just need to do a couple of things to it, and then what I'm going to do is put it on the Ravelry tester pool thingy and ask for testers via Ravelry. And that should hopefully be in the next 2 weeks. What have I done here? Jesus, sorry. It shouldn't matter, should it? I was just trying to keep my fringe out my face while I talk to you, so I didn't constantly fiddle with my hair, and then I end up constantly fiddling with my hair anyway. I will probably let you know via Instagram when I have done the pool testing thing. Testing pool? On Rav. So if you're on Instagram, keep your eyes peeled for that if you're interested, because it has to be tested using John Arbon yarn. I'm waiting for a code to give to people that will get you a discount when you purchase yarn for testing, but you have to be dead serious about testing, clearly. Yeah. And those are my finished objects. So it's not too bad. Don't think I've done anything else recently. I have to say that I haven't really got very many whips that are new. You've seen the granny whip. Sorry, that was such a loser. Yeah, you've seen, so I've shown you that. I've moved no further forward with the frost shawl. And I've barely made any more, like there's you can see kind of where, oh I don't know actually, I've got a blocked and an unblocked, but for some reason I don't know. So I've only done a little tiny bit of my jumper. I think I'm calling it High Tides, but I've made very little progress. I was supposed to do my mitts in the car last week, and I ended up ripping one back. I got to about this stage and I ripped it all back because it was too tight, so I started again on a different hook size. Although I have to say, I can see that my tension changes with this. I don't know what my problem is. It started out nice and loose and now it's getting tighter. I need to switch off a bit and not be so, I don't know. So it's nice, and I can see it's nice and loose from here down, and then this bit is not. Which was the problem I was having before. I was using a different size hook. I was using a 2.5 and I found it was so tight that it was unpleasant. It was not right, and so I went up to a 3, but it's still not perfect. I think I'll probably block these, but anyway, I have mentioned these before, but you can see it goes in here. That's where my tension, or if I hope I haven't dropped a row. I haven't. No. It's just my tension changes all of a sudden. Anyway, they're the wrist warmers I showed you last time. But I frogged back so many times that I'm very behind. Made very little progress. But I shall hopefully try and work. I'll do some more car crochet. I did a lot of this in the car last Friday, and I'll try and do some more tomorrow. But I want those finished. I feel like they should have been finished ages ago and it's just dragging. I've kind of lost it a little bit. Lost the enthusiasm for them because they're just not being, things aren't going swimmingly, and so it's making me cross and frustrated. And I'd rather move on to other things, to be honest. I've still got my, this looks at me and asks me why haven't you made me? It's going to be, I know what it's called. It's called the Claudia cowl. But Claudia is all wrapped up in a cake. And Claudia has not been made. But she will be made into a cowl very soon. She calls to me. Yeah. I'm only allowed to start her once I've made the mitts, the wrist warmers. And then we sort of draw to a close. I've got one more thing, and that is, this arrived in the post this morning, crochet succulents. Crocheted succulents, which is a new book by Anna Varnum, who is a well-known crochet designer. It's got lots of books and things. And I got sent this as a review copy, but I don't actually know if I'll end up reviewing it properly because the last book I was sent was the Crochet Birds one, and it took me nearly 2 days to really do a proper job. I felt, and I felt like sort of reading it properly, crocheting something from it, writing up, photographing it, photographing it, all that jazz. It takes a really long time. And so I'm asking myself, do I want a crochet succulent in my house? It transpires that many people do want crochet succulents in their house, which is why this book has been published. The photography in it is beautiful. It's truly stunning, and it's the only reason that I may make crochet succulents is because these photographs do them proud. They look really nice, and I think I like houseplants a lot. I cannot keep them alive, so maybe this is the way forward, but they will only collect dust in this house. So I'm probably not going to do a full review, and in actual fact I could do a giveaway and give this book away, but I'm not going to do it this week. This time round I might just sort of flick through it a little bit and just take some pictures of it, maybe, of the pictures, and then I can like do it, I don't know, pop it on Instagram or something, and then I won't sort of ruin it. It'll be as good as new, and next week I'll do a giveaway, and then I'll do it on here on YouTube. It's beautiful, beautiful book. Right, my tea's gone cold now, a bit annoyed. That's it. Hope you're well. And I'll see you next time. Right, cheerio, bye bye.